everyone. So this is a quick perspective video. Cost. Why do funerals cost so much? What if we just cut back and do direct cremations or do immediate burials or skip the funeral home altogether and go right to the crematory for a cremation? How does this affect anything? It just saves us money, right? Wrong. So let me put in perspective some of the different businesses that correlate to the funeral home and some of the costs. So let's say you don't have a full burial or you don't have a traditional service. Who is affected by that choice? Not that that should derive or change what your choice is for your disposition, but I just want you to understand how many businesses are also tied into the funeral home. So the casket company employs however many people. There's not a sale for that company. The vault company also employs a certain number of people. They then also don't have a sale for their business. Then you also have the florist. The florist gets a lot of their business from the funeral attendees and from the families and from all the funeral flowers. That's a huge source for florists, along with the pastors and the cemetery personnel. So all of those people then are not gaining business, not just a funeral home. So based on choices, there's a lot of people affected, not just, oh, let's, the funeral home wants a bunch of money, so let's bypass them. It also affects a lot of other businesses, a lot of other people's jobs because of it. Let's look at the cemetery. Why do cemeteries cost so much? Why is it so much just to dig a hole? Well, if you've watched my video on digging a grave, you'll see how much work and effort goes into digging one grave space. Now, let's look at that one piece of property. It's not large, it's not like it's an acre, it's one grave. However, there is perpetual care for that piece of property for all eternity, essentially. So forever, that grave space is going to be mowed and weed whipped and cared for and overseen by a board or by a group or by an organization. And you can't say that about, your yard. How much does it cost to take care of your yard every time? So let's say you have a half-acre yard and it costs $40 to $50 to mow each time. So imagine that one little grave space being mowed weekly, being weed whipped and being taken care of, and you pay, let's say, $500 one time to open and close that grave, and you paid, let's say, $50 or $100 or $500 to purchase that grave space. So let's say $1,000 because you had $500 on each side, and that has to be divided out for 400 years to mow and perpetually take care of that one grave space. So do you see where I'm going with the cost on that? That it's actually a pretty good deal to only be paying that amount for perpetual care of one little piece of property for all eternity. So those are the two perspectives I wanted to talk about today and just throw at you to think about, that there's a lot of industries that are affected by the decline in use of the funeral home because of their connection to what transpires at the funeral home. So it's not just cutting back on the funeral home's income, it's cutting back on the income of a lot of different businesses that are shutting down because they don't have enough businesses, a lot of jobs being lost. Then you flip over and you also have the cemetery and why their prices are the way that they are. And if they're having less and less burials, their prices are going to have to go higher and higher. Just like newspapers. Obituary costs are raising higher because people are wanting to cut down and just put them online. So everything affects each other within this industry, just like any industry. So I know you may say, this is just Kari griping about something, and it is. But I like to give perspective on it because people like to complain without looking at the actual numbers and the facts and how it actually affects everything. So there you go. That's my thoughts on a few different areas of the business and the costs involved and how they can be affected negatively by some of the choices and by some of the change within the business. So hoping that not that everybody's going to go back to traditional, services, but that these businesses can change and thrive again with new industry and with new businesses and with new things that are coming down the road. Thanks, guys. Love to hear your thoughts as always, because you're listening to my thoughts. So talk to you soon. Bye.